It used to be a positive thing that people could go online and be whoever they wanted to be. However, as chat rooms and online dating began to prosper, the idea of someone lying about their identity took on a much different meaning. Catfishing refers to the act of someone online lying about who they are, usually by using people's photos and going by a fake name. These are 5 cases considered to be some of the most terrifying catfishing cases to have ever happened. Number 5. For this entry, the woman involved was not yet identifiable, so we'll be referring to her as Jane. In 2000, after a period of dating, Jane married a man she thought was the love of her life, named Brian Cornelius. The marriage held on for about 11 years as the couple built a life together and had children. For reasons unknown, they were probably very valid. Jane requested a divorce and then the couple split. Brian wasn't particularly excited about splitting up, but he complied. He did hang on to a lot of anger and unresolved feelings though, allegedly. 3 months after their divorce, Jane and Brian were going through a custody battle over their 2 children. They had limited contact, but every exchange they shared was described as stressful and dangerous by Jane. Regardless, the divorcee had happily moved on and met someone online named Aaron Carpenter. The pair immediately clicked and began a pretty serious online relationship. They talked every day, all day, through various online sources such as email. In an interview, Jane stated that she confided intimate details of her life and daily activities in Aaron. She even allowed him to see the inside of her room through a video chat, which Aaron couldn't participate in from his end due to a broken webcam, or so he claimed. While a few red flags sent Jane off, she wasn't bothered by his occasional absence because she was consumed by the responsibility of dealing with her ex-husband in court. She wasn't just concerned with their court interactions though. In March of 2012, Jane was allegedly assaulted by Brian at her home. After the attack, she went to Aaron for comfort while explaining her plans to get an order of protection against her ex-husband. Aaron stood by Jane during that tough time, supporting her choice. However, he later convinced her to skip a court date relating to the order and it was dismissed. Over the next few days, Jane grew more and more suspicious. Brian seemed to have information she only shared with Aaron, her online lover, and would frequently plan to meet places, which resulted in Jane being stood up on several occasions. In addition, Brian would coincidentally show up to said locations as well. Eventually, all melted together and Jane realized what was going on. In August of 2012, after confirming her suspicions, Jane filed an order of protection against Brian, which is still active to this day, and Brian faced 2 counts of misdemeanor stalking. Number 4. Manti is an American football linebacker currently working as a free agent. He played college football for Notre Dame, where he was most well known, and was a talented player that received over 8 national awards in his time there. In 2012, Manti entered into a relationship with a woman that he met online. While they had not met in person, Manti was head over heels for Lene Kikuya, a Stanford University student. Over time, the relationship grew to be quite serious, and Manti even spoke publicly about his relationship during a few interviews. In September of 2012, Manti informed the media that both his grandmother and girlfriend had passed away on the same day. He was utterly devastated as he explained that Lene had gotten into a car accident. At the hospitals, doctors allegedly discovered that Lene had been suffering from undiagnosed leukemia, which led to her demise. Manti was very open about his losses with the media, and the heartbreaking story was a constant headline. Manti didn't pull back on his career and continued to attend every game for Notre Dame, explaining that he'd previously promised his girlfriend before she passed away that he would play hard in her honor if something ever happened to her. In January of 2013, a few months after Lene's passing, reporters Timothy Burke and Jack Dickey of the sports blog Deadspin received an anonymous email that allegedly contained details exposing Lene as a catfish. The devoted reporters then worked to investigate the truth behind Lene Kikuya's identity. Just 2 weeks later, an article was published that, while providing proof, claimed that Lene never existed. The reporters placed the blame on a man named Ronaya that apparently knew Manti personally. The photos used on the fake Lene account had also been featured in countless media stories, both on TV and online, belonging to a young woman who was a former classmate of Ronaya. A statement was released the same day by Notre Dame, which said that Manti was an innocent victim of a hoax and insisted that the relationship was exclusively online. This contradicted previous statements in which Manti claimed his girlfriend had met his family. To save his reputation, Manti agreed to an interview with a sports journalist in which he stood by his innocence and explained that he lied about meeting Lene because he had to maintain a lie that he previously told his father about meeting her in person, after his father nagged him about the dangers of meeting people online. Ronaya was also later interviewed, and he said that he'd fallen in love with Manti, and used the fake account to get close to him without risking rejection. It's very likely that he fell in love with the woman online, had to suffer while they were unable to visit one another, and faced the grief of losing her, and then found out that it had all been an unnecessary series of lies. Number 3. In 2012, 30-year-old Angela Buchanan was arrested for online impersonation. Angela was real-life friends with an unidentified 51-year-old woman who we will call Sue. The pair met online and talked through Yahoo for several years. Eventually, they met in person and maintained a friendship for about 7 years before the drama went down. Angela created and operated an online persona of a Texas gynecologist simply named Doc. Angela told Sue that she had a mother-daughter-like relationship with the doctor who had helped her overcome breast cancer in 2008 while she was with her ex. Angela frequently communicated with Sue as Doc, reporting entirely fabricated test results, visiting summaries, and suggesting actions for Angela's health. At one point, Doc told Sue that Angela had a precancerous mass in her breast. Doc went on to explain that the mass could be stopped from developing by increasing the release of a certain hormone in Angela's system. Doc encouraged Sue to have intimate relations with Angela to increase hormone production and save her life. Sue later explained in an interview that she formerly identified as a lesbian, but in her older age, she found homosexuality to be immoral. Regardless, she eventually gave in and agreed to sleep with Angela. Once again, Angela would go to fake visits and have her blood drawn. Doc would then message Sue about the test results and encouraged an increase in sexual activity on several occasions. A while later, Sue suggested that Angela have a mastectomy and reconstructive surgery as a proactive move to eliminate the cancer. Angela and Doc both agreed, and she had the surgery shortly after. When Sue asked the surgeon about the lump, he responded that they were never made aware of any lumps and were simply instructed to perform reconstructive surgery as a cosmetic procedure. Another lie that was told was that she was in the middle of a custody battle with her ex-partner concerning a set of twins they had via in vitro fertilization. She pressured Sue to travel with her to a state where same-gender marriage was legal in an attempt to increase her chances of winning custody. Sue and Angela traveled and had a civil marriage ceremony. Sue's daughter was shocked when her mother told her the details of her relationship with Angela. She suspected that Angela was lying and was also posing as a mysterious Doc character. Sue investigated the situation and finally revealed the truth about Doc. She contacted Angela's ex and confirmed that Angela never had breast cancer and there was no ongoing custody battle. In fact, the couple didn't even have kids together. Sue went to the police and Angela ultimately admitted to everything, claiming she did it because Sue would not agree to a relationship otherwise. She was charged for impersonating a medical professional. Number 2. According to her estranged sister, Janelle Potter had terrible trouble making friends for most of her life, especially when she moved to Mountain City, Tennessee in 2005, and her struggle only got worse. As many do, Janelle found a safe haven on the internet where she could make friends and be whoever she wanted to be. However, things still weren't all that easy because her parents strictly monitored her online activity. In a positive turn of events, Janelle befriended a woman that worked at a local pharmacy named Tracy Greenwell. The pair hung out, and Janelle met Tracy's cousin, Jamie Kurt, and Billy Payne. She and Jamie clicked and began hanging out. Jamie would visit Janelle's home once a week to work on their computer, and unbeknownst to Janelle's parents, the couple would actually use the time to visit and be intimate. Although it was easy to assume that Janelle's life was going great, she was facing an influx of cyberbullying, which seriously damaged her self-esteem and happiness. Anonymous users with fake accounts taunted, insulted, and even threatened Janelle. She believed it was Billie Jean Hayworth, the girlfriend of Billy Payne. Janelle, who allegedly had feelings for Billy Payne, assumed that Hayworth was bullying her because she was jealous of her looks. It was never confirmed if Hayworth was to blame for the cyberbullying, though. Eventually, a huge, messy, disorganized feud broke out on Facebook between Jamie, Billy Payne, and Billy Hayworth, Janelle, and others. Jamie took Janelle's side. Janelle and others unfriended one another after the fight, hoping to put the whole thing to rest. On January 31st, 2012, a friend found Billy Payne and Billy Hayworth in their apartment no longer alive. The crime scene presented signs of obvious foul play. Both victims had been purposefully attacked while laying in bed, holding their infant. Luckily, the baby was fine. Janelle and Jamie were apprehended and interrogated. Janelle hid a variety of details from police, and Jamie failed a lie detector test when asked if he knew the identity of the suspect in the case. Finally, Jamie offered information claiming he'd been texting with a man named Chris. The mysterious man claimed to be a CIA agent hired to protect Janelle at all cost. After 6 hours of interrogation, Jamie made another confession. He admitted that Marvin Potter, Janelle's father, was responsible. Marvin was arrested and confessed to the crimes, but this still left the questions about Chris. The strange alleged CIA agent had apparently been messaging Janelle's parents, informing them of the supposed threats online. He informed them that their daughter was in danger and someone wanted to kill them all. This information is what initially set Marvin off, as he felt he had to protect his family no matter the cost. When investigators dug a little deeper to reveal who Chris actually was, they found all the emails and messages sent by Chris traced back to the Potter family computer. A court trial later declared that Janelle was behind the Chris account, pointing out similar spelling and grammar mistakes to Janelle's own writing. She used the false identity to fuel the delusion she'd made up by feeding her mother lies. Chris was also used to push Marvin to his crimes, which worked. In the end, details revealed that Marvin, Janelle, and her mother Barbara all worked together to take the victims' lives. They were all found guilty and sentenced to life in prison. Number 1. A woman who had her photos stolen in 2007 was tracked down by the victim. Tiffany Watkins, a beautiful young woman, told reporters in 2016 that her PhotoBucket account had been hacked 9 years prior. PhotoBucket was a popular site for storing and sharing photos online. After a hacker stole all of her photos, she started to see fake profiles pop up online using her identity. There was no way for Tiffany to know the intentions of every single fake profile she came across. Additionally, it was extremely difficult and often impossible to get the Catfish to remove the profile or change their photos. Tiffany was concerned but eventually let it go, hoping things would smooth over on their own. Unfortunately, she didn't count on the response that Catfish victims would have. In 2011, Michigan resident Brian Heil interacted with the fake profile using Tiffany's photos. Brian fell for the woman he saw in the photos, unaware that the account was actually being run by an older South African woman. Very few details were published concerning how Brian discovered that he was being catfished, but he found out somehow and was very upset. He discovered that he'd been lied to and felt his heart had been broken. Eventually, his sadness turned into rage and he tracked down the real woman in the photos. He believed that Tiffany and her boyfriend played a role in the hoax and he sought revenge. He drove from Fremont, Michigan to San Diego with his brother, following a plan they'd constructed to attack Tiffany and her boyfriend. Along the way, Brian stopped at a Walmart to purchase mace, rope, and a knife. During this pit stop, his brother had second thoughts about the crime and called the police. Luckily, Brian was apprehended before even making it near Tiffany's home. As a result, Brian was sentenced to 5 years in federal prison just for making these plans. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, be sure to click that like button. Also, don't forget to subscribe and click that notification bell to keep updated with our videos. And if you enjoyed this narration, maybe consider checking out my personal channel at youtube.com/Ty_knots.